Colleagues, hi, sorry. There's some seats there, please. Let's all sit down, so you don't have to stand. It's going to be a long session. You know, academics like to talk a lot, so. Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Great having all of you this evening at this event. For those of you that haven't met this evening, my name is Sunil Maharaj, and I'm the Dean of the Faculty of Engineering, Built Environment and IT. And it's great having all of you today. It's a very momentous occasion for us because this discussion we started sometime, I think in April, March 2016, and it came to fruition about a month ago, or August actually. So it's a long road we walked, but I'm glad we actually reached part of the destination. So on behalf of the faculty, I'd like to welcome all of you, particularly our Vice Chancellor and Principal, Professor Cheryl Derare. Thank you, Prof, for being with us this evening. I know we get good value for our money by always inviting you, and you very kindly agreed to come to our events, and we really appreciate this, and thank you very much for supporting us. And then, of course, Mr. Edwin Ludwig and his team from AEL Mining Services. Thank you, sir, for coming, and thank you very much for supporting our faculty and wishing to walk the journey together. So it's a very auspicious occasion for us today because we're celebrating two things with AEL. Firstly, we're launching the chair in rock breaking technology, which is a very important part of this partnership we're having. And coupled to that, we're going to be looking at how we bring visualization to reality, looking at 3D blasting simulation and visualization research, particularly in virtual reality and visualization within the Department of Electrical Electronic Computer Engineering, working with mining engineering, and of course, end of the day, working with our industry partner, AEL Mining Services. So it's a very unique way of doing things, and one of the things we stress a lot in our faculty, and Professor Jan Ilov, our Dean for Research, is somewhere, he's in the back, he's here, and one of the things he always tries and drives is we're looking at interdisciplinary research, because as engineers, projects are not mining, projects are not only computers, projects are not electronics. It's many aspects to it. It's the social part, it's the software part, it's the mechanical part, the electrical part, or the chemical part, the metallurgical part. And we try and inculcate that culture in our faculty. And this is one good example of an initiative where we're working with industry in bringing the different facets together. So for us, it's a very exciting journey as well to bring different departments to work together, which in academia is also difficult because people like to work in their silos. And I think money is a good instigator for collaboration. I think this is a good classic example of that. So colleagues, without further ado, I'd like to ask our Vice Chancellor and Principal, Professor Derare, to share her message with you all.
Thank you very much, Professor Maharaj, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's really a pleasure for me to be here this evening, and I first of all want to thank my colleagues in the Faculty of Engineering, Built Environment and IT for organizing and hosting us this evening. It's my pleasure to welcome Mr. Edwin Ludwig, CEO, and colleagues and business partners, and my colleagues from the faculty to this celebration. You may have noticed that as you walked into the campus, it's rather quiet this week. And it's not because we've locked all the students out. It's simply because it's the midterm break. And it is also a midterm break that coincides with a very well-known music festival up north, Opikopi. And students, if you were students here, you might remember it. So many students have packed up and gone to have their own celebration of sorts before they come back and prepare for the year-end examinations. Ladies and gentlemen, in addition to my position as Vice Chancellor and Principal here at this university, I have a number of other non-remuneration portfolios. And one of them is taking me to the Portfolio Committee in Parliament tomorrow, because I'm currently the chairperson of the National Advisory Council on Innovation, NACI, people talk about. And our mandate is to advise governments on science, technology and innovation. And last week, we had an event at the Sheraton Hotel where we launched our annual Science and Technology and Innovation Indicators report. And one of our counselors is actually quite a well-known person, Azar Jamin, who you often see on television. He was critical to this work. In essence, what this report does is ask the question, how are we doing in terms of science, technology, and innovation? And it tries to give us an overview of where the country is meeting targets set for itself many years ago and where we're not doing so well and we have to redouble our efforts. When it comes to the university system, the report is very encouraging because what we see is that South Africa's knowledge generation performance has increased since 1996. In fact, our global share of publications increased from 0.39% in 96 to 0.69% in 2015. And our global share of citations increased more than 3 times in the same period. So when we look at ourselves as a university system, and also particularly the University of Pretoria, we see that over the past decade or more, when it comes to research and in fact student and graduate output, we literally have been able to do more with less, becoming more efficient as we've developed. And also pleasing across the South African system is that there is greater demographic diversity in our research capacity. Now let me say, this is not measuring who teaches, but who's producing the knowledge. So if we look at who's producing the knowledge, there are more black researchers and more women than ever before in the history of our country. But while this is progress, it's clear by looking at all the indicators that we measured that as a country we need to redouble our efforts in translating scientific knowledge or the publications that we in universities measure into innovations that can be commercialized so as to contribute to economic development and wealth creation in this country. In other words, how you in your business, AEL, can do business better and more efficiently. And at a greater level of global competitiveness. Now, here at the University of Pretoria, in looking at where we can improve our own efforts, we have recognized that cooperation and collaboration between industry and universities is essential. In current times, no matter where we're located, be it in business or in universities, I'm sure you will agree that we're faced with greater complexity than ever before, greater unpredictability, and what now seems to be regular threats of instability here in South Africa. But if we look at what happened across the globe this week, I think we're all quite shocked and wonder what the future holds for global harmony and peace. Now, at the same time, we try to think about how we address complexity, how we continue to operate at the highest level in an unpredictable and somewhat unstable environment. We also have to deal with ever-dwindling resources. As I met our guests this evening, many of you asked me how are things going in the university, and I think it's one of those frequently asked questions of vice chancellors these days. I am pleased to share with you that this year we've certainly had a better year than last year across the university system. But the issue that's uppermost on our minds is how we juggle multiple expectations with levels of resources that are not increasing in either real or nominal terms. Universities in South Africa and across the African continent are expected to continue with our teaching, our research, our services, and contribute to social and economic transformation of the country. But at the same time, we are grappling with growing student enrollments and increased demands for what we might describe as welfare services. This tends to happen when state services are not performing as they should. So as a university, our students expect us to provide healthcare services, residences, and the whole host of social services. As a public university, however, we looked at our strategy and our plans, and we realized that we have a commitment to the people of South Africa, and in order to deliver on these multiple expectations, we can only do so by thinking about how we work with other organizations where there might be some overlapping objectives in our strategies and in our annual objectives. And this, of course, is all about partnerships and collaboration. The university's engineering, built environment, and IT faculty is at the forefront of forging collaborative arrangements to assist us in meeting our expectations and our objectives. And in particular, our commitment to improving our international competitiveness, our commitment to academic excellence and relevance. So as I look at the University of Pretoria today, we have strong ties with a number of government departments, public sector organizations, professional bodies, and a growing number of industry partners. And as I'm sure you know, we continuously look at our curricula, and that's why we have advisory boards, including many people who are either yourselves or peers, to assist us in making sure we continue to be relevant. This approach has stood us in good stead, and I believe it will continue to do so. Our engineering and built environment and IT faculty has a number of research institutes, research centers, and a growing number of chairs which are industry sponsored. And we would like to grow these even further. Tonight I wish to acknowledge your support of our strategy in this regard, as we are celebrating the launch of the AEL Mining Services Chair in Innovative Rock-Breaking Technology, hosted in our Department of Mining Engineering. And as I think the Dean alluded to, we see this as a beginning of a partnership where we have overlapping interests and objectives. True partnerships only work well when there's mutual benefit. And from our side, I can assure you, we're committed to making sure that it's measurable benefit in a mutual direction. So to the CEO and colleagues here present, I wish to assure you that it's a university commitment extending beyond the department and the faculty itself. Indeed, it's emboldened in our strategy. The Dean also referred to our commitment to multidisciplinarity. I recall on this occasion, some years ago, in fact it was about 12 years ago, sitting in a presentation where there were a number of directors general of several government departments. And I recall one of the presentations where somebody was bold enough to say that they think the mining industry might become a sunset industry for South Africa. And I do recall at that time thinking that can't possibly be true. How can any country or any region of the world that has resources such as we have ever think in that direction? So in fact, as we think about knowledge intensity or a services-based economy, what advances in technology do is not lead to the disappearance of some sectors of the economy. And rather what it does is actually transform that part of the economy and the way in which old parts or long-standing parts of the economy conduct their day-to-day business. And we've seen that here at the university. We're close to 110 years old as a university. But the way we teach and do research today is fundamentally different to how we did it in the past. So I too have had people saying, what's the future of universities now that there's massive online courses and all of these new technologies? And the fact of the matter is, institutions like this will continue long into the future. The only way we can risk that is if we fail to embrace the opportunities of new technologies and the like. And this is where multidisciplinarity really matters. So as the Dean indicated, Part of our strategy as the University of Pretoria is to think about the frontiers of knowledge. And the frontiers of knowledge is definitely a move from multidisciplinarity into transdisciplinarity. By that I mean we tackle issues and we look at themes or problems that we're facing or grand challenges rather than thinking simply within our disciplinary silos. Just to mention one or two examples, this particular faculty has recently introduced a whole specialization in big data and data science. And that's an area, a new frontier of science that has impact for almost every sector of our economy today. So against this background, I would like to thank AEL for your confidence in the University of Pretoria and assure you of our commitment to delivering on the agreements that we've signed with you, a commitment that extends throughout the university. And as I said, we are committed to measurable outcomes that produce value for both sides of the partnership. So with those few words, let me welcome you to the University of Pretoria and say that we look forward to working with you from here on in new and different ways for the benefit not only of our respective organizations, but for the people of South Africa. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Delaray, and thank you for those very encouraging words going forward. Next, I'd like to ask our head for the Department of Mining Engineering, Professor Ronnie Weaver-Youngman, to, of course, share his message, and then later on introduce Mr. Lurik. Ronnie.
Vice-Chancellor and Principal Professor Delaray, the Dean of the Faculty Engineering, Built Environment and IT, Professor Maraj, the Deputy Dean Research of EBIT, Professor Jan Elof, the Managing Director of AEL Mining Services, Mr. Edmund Ludik, Professor Johan Joubert, HOD of the Department of Electrical, Electronic and Computer Engineering, our department partner in this collaboration initiative with AEL Mining Services, fellow HODs, distinguished guests, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Thank you very much from my side also for joining us tonight in the celebration of the official launch of the AEL Mining Services Chair in Innovative Rock Breaking Technology in the Department of Mining Engineering at the University of Pretoria. We do believe in the future of mining and mining-related activities, and therefore our extensive drive towards active involvement with industry partners. Over the last 10 years, we have seen several industry collaboration partnerships established in the forms of research chairs in my department. The first year of was the Sasol Chair in Safety, Health and Environment, and was then followed by the Harmony Chair in Rock Engineering and Numerical Modeling. And the latest addition is the AEL Mining Services Chair in Innovative Rock Breaking Technology, which, with other than its specific research goals, also include, like the Dean mentioned, a research visualization component which will be run under the guidance of the Department of Electrical, Electronic and Computer Engineering. And interestingly enough, all of the visualization aspects that forms part of the objectives of the AELMS Chair would not have been possible if it was not for the establishment of the Kumba Virtual Reality Center for Mine Design in the department in 2015. Also taking in consideration a major donation from African Rainbow Minerals in 2015, which enabled the appointments of young postgraduate assistant lecturers as researchers in the department and additional support staff for basically 3 years, makes it quite clear that industry collaboration and related funding to the benefit of all is imperative for the success of research initiatives in our department. I'm very proud to say that over the last 10 years that in excess of 50 million rand has come to the mining department and is actually been showing in what we've been achieving in our research-related activities. A new way of doing things through the use and implementation of the latest technology is no longer a nice to have. Adapting and implementing is a have to have. As department, we are very excited to be part of this new drive in mining research. Mining-related activities in terms of applied and fundamental research will in future play a significant role in terms of how we're going to address our challenges. Innovation, modernization, next-generation mining, longevity, whatever you want to call it, it will be the order of the day. And what to do to ensure a sustainable, profitable, safe, healthy, productive, and a sustainable mining operation in a responsible manner in future is no longer negotiable. Rock breaking through blasting is and was a key component in the mining value chain, and over the past 100 years in South Africa played a significant role in making ore available and making South Africa what it is today. In South Africa, mining and agricultural activity still remains the key drivers of our economy. As Mark Kitifani, CEO of Anglo American, once mentioned, that in South Africa you either mine it or you grow it. And with the establishment of the AEL MS chair in the department, AEL Mining Services, a subsidiary company of AEL, intends to establish a presence of support activities in the Department of Mining Engineering as follows. Obtain access to expertise and facilities available in the departments, having a channel through which contributions can be made towards social development of the people of South Africa by identifying suitable postgraduate research students and providing them with financial support and other support initiatives. Collaboration within the Department of Mining Engineering will obviously focus on 3D blast simulation like mentioned, and the visualization of new research, initially incorporating research into blasting engineering practices, but may extend to other focus areas in the department. And also then the benefit from the association with the University of Pretoria from a branding and a marketing perspective. As was mentioned before, no university department can operate in isolation from industry, and here the department wishes to express its real gratitude towards AEL Mining Services for their financial support in establishing the chair in our department. The monetary value of the chair is approximately 2.3 million rand per year, intended for a period of 3 years. But for me, it's not about the money. It's about the investment in the future of our youngsters in South Africa, which I really believe is something that we are driving quite aggressively. And we already started a project in 2017 relating to this agreement. We, under the guidance of Professor William Spiteri, which is an extraordinary appointed professor in the department, are currently busy with an investigation into fly rock related to surface blasting operations so as to determine safe blast clearance radii for blasting practices. The department also has the services of our senior lecturer, Mr. Walter de Graaf, as part of the research team, someone with extensive experience in blasting and who incidentally also in the past did work for AEL before I poached him. Jennifer Sapsford, one of our full-time postgraduate students, forms part of this initial research group. The role of the Department of Electrical, Electronic and Computer Engineering as part of this collaborative partnership with AELMS, under the guidance of the HOD, Professor Johan Joubert and Hans Grobler, will be the full spectrum visualization interface of the research results, and we're going to make it through the use of 3D scanning and mapping, multispectral 3D data and scene analysis, integration of computational models for co-simulation, and real-time multi-domain simulation and visualization, something which I believe is a first in the world. Another project identified is to make AELMS learning material visual through instructional design and the use of immersive technology initiatives incorporating virtual reality and augmented reality in teaching and learning. Here we will involve the services of an instructional designer, Mrs. Estelle Drysdale, a project which I really believe has great application potential in the mining industry. In our discussions towards establishing the AELMS chair, one of the key objectives was to ensure that game-changer projects are to be identified and pursued, which would investigate novel concepts of future exploitation. The intention is that this research will position AELMS to be prepared for possible future trends in the industry and will establish the university as a center of excellence in emerging rock-breaking technologies and related mining methods. For example, practical non-explosive techniques of breaking rock. The department had the official launch of the Mining Resilience Research Center in May 2017. And since its establishment and approval through Senate of the University of Pretoria in 2016, has been successful in approximately 25 million rand in successful tendered projects that were initiated by the Mine Health and Safety Council through our enterprises company here at the University of Pretoria. And the fact that we had chairs in place, we could appoint young graduates to be researchers and junior researchers in all of those activities and exposing them to a new career, which I think is going to be very dominant in the industry in future. So the establishment of the AELMS chair therefore further enhances the capability of the department to contribute towards practically implementable solutions to rigorous integrated science research in a multidisciplinary environment. The department is also in the final stages of finalizing the advertisement for the appointment of the chairholder for the AELMS chair to be concluded in the very near future. So in conclusion, I would once again like to thank Mr. Edwin Ludik for this belief in the Department of Mining Engineering and the Department of Electrical, Electronic and Computer Engineering at the University of Pretoria by choosing us as research partners to pursue research in innovative rock-breaking technology. I thank you. On that note, I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Edwin Ludik, who, as I got to know over the last year and a half, and maybe he will share something about that. But he's also a graduate. He's a graduate from the Northwest University. He also, and that was a Bachelor of Commerce in Business Managerial Economics. He also has an honors in Business Economics from UNISA. And in terms of his work CV, he's been quite extensively involved all over, starting off in the chemical environment as managing director in 2000 to 2002. And he's been managing director and a chairman at various companies over this time. And also then in 2010, 2015, he was the chairman at New Landis. Then full chairman in 2010, 2015. And then also chairman at the Industrial Oleochemical Products for a period of 6 years. Since 2010 till present, he's been an executive at AECI Limited and currently holds the position as managing director at AEL Mining Services until now. And I have to share with you a personal story. When I got him to sign the final documents, we had coffee there at Linwood Bridge. And I always remember that the name Edwin Ludik reminded me of something. And because I was also in a professional sport environment, I then learned that he was the Edwin Ludik, the high jump springbok, in the same time that I was also doing sport. So immediately there was a sport connection, and I actually felt much easier about the association. So on that note, thank you very much once again, and I'm looking forward to your address. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Yes, I was the high jumper, but I now look more like the shot putter. Professor Delaray, Professor Maharaj, Professor Elof, somewhere here, other heads of departments, Professor Weber Youngman, AEL executive and managers, we've got a number of them here. Dr. Landman, who's with our partner DETNET, who's our research arm in AEL, and I'm also proud to be the chairman of his business. Students, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Now, Dr. Weber Youngman has explained the association that we entered into. We are very proud to be associated with the Pretoria University. This university is an institution of its own, and it has really come a long way. We're specifically proud of being involved in your department and your, as you call it, your EBIT faculty. We believe that this association would definitely bring some new initiatives, and I can't wait to see the work that's done specifically on the virtual reality. I'd love to see our people being trained on virtual reality, where you train them while you take them out of dangerous areas while they're still not trained, and you can train them, and it's as close as you can get to the reality. So I can't wait for the product when we achieve that. I understand there are a number of projects, and you've covered it for as well, that we're involved in, but I believe our association will bring initiative to the industry. Our association will also help students to grow, and we'll grow new mining engineers for the future, or we'll grow new professors for the future who excites students about mining engineering and the mining industry. The mining industry currently is under pressure, and we've seen for a period that it's not an easy environment. We've been very blessed in our business. We've really done well. Our half-year results are public knowledge. We've increased our profits by 19% year on year. So it is for us a privilege that we are there and be able to contribute to this exercise. We hope that this becomes an ongoing relationship, and as Professor De La Rey said to us, that the only way this can be an ongoing relationship is that if there's mutual benefit. And I'm convinced there will be mutual benefit in this relationship. So, AEL. AEL is part of the AECI group. Now, AEL is 120 years plus old, and AECI is a combination of AEL and a chemical. So in the old days, they were referring to African explosives and chemical industries. That's where the AECI comes from. That's disappeared, but just to give you a little bit of history. So AEL has been around for many, many years. AEL is part of 15 companies in the AECI group. AECI is listed on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, so you can go and invest in us if you would like to. AEL itself is established. We've got 70 operations in 23 countries. So we quite a global business. We established ourselves 2 years ago in Australia, which is a real first world market, and we were really concerned about our entrance there. At the time, there was a standard of, I think, 1 in 20,000 failures in electronic detonators. We entered there and we had lots of work, and between our team and Dr. Landman's team, we managed to improve our product, and in a first world country, we are now the standard of 1 in 155,000 failures in Australia. So this is really good work done by a South African-born business. So it just shows you what we can do as South Africans and how we can run our businesses. Get back to AEL, after AECI. AECI, as I said, it's got 15 businesses, but the 15 businesses are divided up into 5 pillars, of which the mining solutions pillar is the biggest pillar, of which we are part of. Then we've got a pillar in water solutions, we've got a pillar in the food and ingredients, and we've got a pillar in agriculture, and we've got a pillar in general chemicals. So AECI is quite a broad-based business in South Africa, and we quite feel when South Africa goes through difficult times because we touch every aspect of South Africa. And especially if mining goes through a difficult time, we even feel it more because a big portion of our business is in mining. Our business is AEL. We're 60% now outside of South Africa. So we've taken our business and we've traveled outside. So we're 60% outside of South Africa. We produce 650,000 tons of product through our emulsion plants in 17 emulsion plants across the world. We produce detonators, conventional detonators, 120 million per year. We sell our electronic detonators in more than 3 million per year across the world. We are into vertical drops for mines in technology. We've got a number of vertical drops that we supply into mines where we help the mines to be safer, but it makes it also economically more viable when you do a vertical drop in a mine and you supply the product via a shaft, vertical shaft down. We have a number of portable charging units deployed in 5 countries. It's over 500, if I've got the number correct there. So our business is a real international business, but was really born in South Africa. And I'm very proud of it to say I'm the managing director for a business like this, a truly South African business who's now gone out into the world and go into established markets like Australia and compete on equal footing. Our values, 2 of our values, is to be responsible and innovative. I feel that this participation that we have here is really to the core of our values. We feel it's responsible for us to participate with university, to develop the students, to develop technology, but also get those new innovations, because I'm told the young people are coming with new ideas. And I can tell you now that mining will change totally going forward. I think that mining in future will have no people on benches and very little people underground to no people underground. So we would have to, as blasters, follow that recipe. And I hope we can have the facility of your university to help us and the initiatives of your university to help us to achieve this. I see that as a big opportunity for us to move into that area. So in conclusion, as you know, I'm not an academic, so I don't talk a lot. You know, there was a man who once said, education is our passport to the future. And he further said, for tomorrow belongs to the people who prepares today for it. I'm sure people know who's that, Malcolm X. So I want to say, Professor, thank you very much for the work you do in your university with your educators for preparing us for the future. I think without educators like yourself and an institution like your university, we will not be ready as South Africans for the future. There's a lot of competition out there and we need to remain relevant. And I want to thank you for the input that you and your staff do to secure our future. And I want to say to the students, we are really happy with you wanting to go into mining, wanting to move through the system, whether it's in an academic field or in a practical field like us out on the mines. We're really happy to support you, and we want to wish you well and thank you for the commitment. We all know it is not always easy to study, but good luck and good luck with the projects. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ludwig, for those kind words. And of course, thank you to your team as well for coming out this evening all the way to the other side of the Yuxke River to join us. It's great having you here. So I think, as Professor Ronnie mentioned, we have signed the MOU agreement because we need to get the work started. So this evening we have unveiling of a plaque as a symbol of gesture of partnership between University of Pretoria and AEL Mining Services. So I'll ask Mr. Ludwig and Professor Delaray and Ronnie, if you can please guide the team to do this unveiling. Switch the camera that side.
I must say, everybody in your department has the endurance of this man.
I've got a small gift that I would like to hand over. I think the formalities are over, Edwin. So I would like to hand this over to you. As a token of our appreciation, you didn't know that this is going to be yours. As a department, we had to pick the right one, and this is going to become redundant. A miner sitting like this, drilling like this is redundant. So this is a historical event, because you're never going to see this in future. So enjoy it, and I hope I see it on your...
Thank you, much appreciated. And Ronnie, thank you. It was very difficult to call you Professor tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks, Prof. Ronnie. So to conclude this evening's event, I just want to say a few thank you. Of course, first and foremost, thank you to the AECI team. When we started the first discussions in April, when we had a team delegation, we had quite a big delegation that came to us around April last year to actually to explore. Is there an opportunity? Should we have discussions? Should we engage with UP? And we didn't have anything at that time with the AECI or AEL. And subsequent to that, of course, getting this agreement with AEL Mining Services. So I really want to thank the group, and particularly AEL Mining Services under the leadership of Mr. Lurik. Thank you very much for driving this. And yes, I know Ronnie always hassled you, because I always asked him, Ronnie, when are we going to sign this MOU? We need to get this thing off the ground. And he told me, I'm driving to Johannesburg now. I'm going to see Edwin now. But of course, that shows perseverance and tenacity, which I think is important for all of us, especially in tough times that we live in. So thank you very much to AEL Mining Services. And of course, I'd like to thank Department of University Relations for putting this event together, Lynette Smith and her team, and of course our faculty marketing people as well. And of course, again, thank you, Professor De La Rey, for joining us this evening. I know you got a busy schedule. You need to go to Cape Town as well. And thank you very much for making the time to be with us. We really appreciate it. And of course, the Electrical Electronic Computer Engineering Department, and of course the mining department who put all this event together, the team from the department who arranged the invitations, organize the logistics. Thank you very much, Ronnie, and your team for putting this together. Great job done there. And of course, my EBIT colleagues, my heads of departments that are here today, our Deputy Dean and other colleagues, thank you very much, and I'm sure everybody's excited about this. So in terms of working with AEC and AEL in the explosive space, it's not new to us. We have a project that's been running with our chemical engineering in the 3D printing aspect, and we're hoping that we can continue that particular project, because I think that's very exciting what's happening in the chemical engineering space with the mining services, and I think there's some good innovation that's going to come out from there going forward. And we don't know, maybe how the production of explosives may change radically over time. So that's something we're hoping that we can continue building over and above this chair activity that we have, and of course the virtual reality activities that we're building on going forward. So colleagues, thank you very much, and I think we've got some snacks, so please stay around to network and meet the other colleagues, and have a good evening and travel safely.